Major funding for Telehell is provided by Dave's Archives. At Dave's Archives, he personally transfers, archives, and preserves classic commercials from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s and shares them with you. Don't forget about his Friday night live stream on, well, guess when? Go to davesarchives.com. By RetroCirc on YouTube. Step inside the RetroCirc video store, where commercials come back to life. RetroCirc. Nostalgia now. And as always, it's spelled with a Q at the end. By Kier's Nostalgia Corner, a collection of commercial compilations, retro nostalgic things, and other random things that come to mind. Look for her on YouTube at KIERS Nostalgia Corner, and don't forget to check out her live streams early in the week. By Kev the Ripper on YouTube, home to some of the most obscure TV shows you may or may not have heard of, all with original commercials and all not seen since their original air dates. It's Kev the Ripper at KEVRIPZ. And by the very generous benefactors who grace us on our Patreon at patreon.com/telehellpodcast, including Rhonda Farrell, Rick Kalacki Jr., Chris Michaud, Meredith Morrissey, Rabbite, Matt Seelig, Spare Parts, and Neil Weinstein. Thank you.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. If anybody can hear me out there, then you've got better ears than you thought, because this whole setup is beyond ridiculous. I should probably explain what's happening here. During the past few weeks, we got a visit from Mr. Efficiency Expert again, and in the continuing collection of things that he feels is a waste of money, he's decided to take away all the accoutrements that make up a podcast. So there would be things like a quiet space to record, the acoustical stalactites and stalagmites that surround hell, the fire, and the reverb, and all that stuff. So, in its place, I'm currently recording this on a amateur ham radio. You gotta do what you gotta do, even though it's annoying as shit. But as long as ham radio is being used in either context, why not use this occasion to talk about all the times when, back when I was still alive, I was a ham on the radio. Yeah, believe it or not, I actually spent a good portion of my adult years behind the microphone in various forms of programming and production and anything that involved just being on the air in general. And we'd like to share with you a couple stories from those years, a little thing that we're calling My Radio Days.
I've been around the dial so many times, but you're not there. Somebody tells me that you've been taken off the air. Well, you were my favorite DJ since I can't remember when. You always played the best record, you never followed any trend. FM, AM, where are you? You gotta be out there somewhere.
I began my radio career in the year 2004 as an intern at a small radio station, and, well, I don't want to be too redundant because you're about to hear 5 stories about my radio days in which I'm telling you what the stories are. In the meantime, I'm going to try and refine this whole ham radio thing because I don't think anybody wants to hear me talking like a McDonald's drive-thru for the next hour or so. So, we're going to go back to the, I guess you could say, origins of my radio days and how becoming a fan of a certain piece of radio-related ephemera has led to my career, as well as a piece of production that we use at the end of every Telehell. So sit back, relax, and take a listen to Jingles, a love story.
This is another one of those things that I kind of wanted to just shoot the breeze about a little bit, and especially for personal reasons, because as we're dropping this, it's Memorial Day weekend, and in a few weeks, it's going to be the month of June. And June is important to me because it was on June 5th of the year 2004 that I set foot in a radio station for the first time. I interviewed for a position as a production intern at a local radio station, and right on the spot, not only did they hire me for the internship, but they put me to work right away. So, yes, it's going to be 20 years that I have been in one way, shape, form, or another a part of either the radio industry or audio production in general. And when you reach that point, you tend to get a little philosophical on things. And one of the things that I think about is how exactly did I get to that point, which then led to the points 20 years ahead from there? Well, interests come and interests go, and I'm a kind of person that really likes media in general. I love old TV shows, of course, but I also like personality-driven radio. That's something that, unfortunately, has seen a bit of a downfall in recent years, unless, of course, you're working in a major market, but guess what? I digress. But for whatever reason, I didn't know what it was that I wanted to do when I was in high school, or middle school, or even elementary school. And, you think of that line from Daria, why be forced in your teens to pick a career that you're going to wind up hating when you reach your 40s or something? And I'm paraphrasing on that one. So I promise there's a point to this. How did I get interested in radio? Well, quite honestly, it wasn't so much radio itself that interested me, but a certain part of radio. And on that note, I'm going to cheat a little bit here and let me from about 15 years ago tell this part of the story, because it is this part of the story that's going to be the subject of why we're gathered here today. So take it away, younger me.
Jingles. Jingles, jingles, jingles. When did I become a fan of jingles? It's difficult to say, but it would definitely be sometime when I was just a little kid, before I developed actual interests in things. I was about 8 years old, and I was on my way home from school, and on the bus we had the radio. I don't know why. I mean, the songs I couldn't really get into, and I just couldn't really get into a lot of things. But then I heard this one melodic thing coming out of the speakers, and I was instantly hooked.
For tonight, cloudy, snow developing by midnight, lows in the 20s. Tomorrow, snow ending by midday, partly cloudy, high in the 30s. We've got 30 degrees right now.
Now, needless to say, I didn't become a jingle freak at that very moment, but I just started listening to the station just to hear all those jingles and how wonderful they all sounded.
Continuous hits. K104 Music Marathon. 104.7 K104. 104.7 Continuous hits. K104 Continuous. 8 in a row. 104.7 K104 Continuous hits all weekend long on K104. Holidays, K104.
For a while after that, nothing really happened. And then, thanks to the internet much, much later, I realized that there were people who not only collected jingles, but they also collected old TV commercials. And that's what kind of got the ball rolling for me, was the fact that I had all these tapes lying around. And I figured, well, why the hell not? Give that a try. So I gathered a whole bunch of old commercials that I could find, and I really like the old commercial jingles. That's something you don't see on TV anymore. It's just a coherent message being portrayed in the form of a jingle, basically.
No need to worry about driving when there's someone you can trust. Go Greyhound and leave the driving to us. Go Greyhound and leave the driving to us. NBC us. KM3 us. Hey, you can feel it. We're gonna really fly. A change is coming on. 11 alive.
celebration all across the nation. Now is the time. ABC is the place.
My all-time favorite jingle, and I mean end-all, be-all, favorite jingle I think would have to be Warp Factor from Jam, cut number 14, the DJ cut, because it's like they're taking your name, they're strapping it to a rocket, and like some of the jingles themselves say, they're rocking at the speed of light, and there's just nothing like that.
Hollywood, Hamilton, Skinny Bobby, the Shadow, Janet from another planet, Diane Pryor, the Fox that rocks, Mr. Lennon, Spanky McFarlane, Scott and Ross, Susan Lee Taylor, Matthew Allen, Magic Matt, Jack the Wack, Joe Davis, Bill O'Brien, Adam Curry, MTV Guy, Elvis Duran.
Oh, you guys would have shat yourself if I didn't do this.
Scott Shannon, C100, serving the universe.
Of all the hobbies there are out there to have, I never thought collecting jingles would be something worth pursuing, but leave it to an overactive imagination to pretty much get the ball rolling. So I've been a fan of jingles forever. I'd say, geez, this is going on 15 years almost, so it's pretty much consumed most of my life. I owe a good portion of my career to jingles, and I just love listening to them. In fact, I think I hear another one coming.
C100 New York.
Which brings us more or less to present-day time and further influences that have still powered me to this day. One particular influence is somebody that we mentioned on the show before, and regular listeners of the show know exactly who I'm talking about, but let me give you a quick refresher.
It starts all high and goes all low. It's great being in this wonderful business, ladies and gentlemen, that I like to call the show, ladies and gentlemen. But what a topsy-turvy, ladies and gentlemen, place the world of showbiz is, ladies and gentlemen. There's that Alexi Sale, who once said he'd never do a voiceover for TV, but now does exactly that for banks and unappealing BBC trails.
In the 90s, there was nobody more acerbic, more acidic, and more acrobatic with the written word or the, well, I guess you could say barbed criticism than TV critic Victor Lewis Smith. Back in the day, he also used to be a producer for BBC Radio, and he mentioned, or actually one of his hosts of a certain show that they did in the 80s mentioned his love of jingles, and quite honestly, when I heard this description, it kind of felt like a match.
I must confess that yesterday when our producer, who is a musician, played them to me, I am not a musician, I have no musical subtlety, I said these are surely the musical equivalent of instant soup you make in a cup with a kettle. And he went mad. I mean, he threw furniture around, broke windows, said, no, they are not. They are enormously skilled, enormously rich,
yes,
very,
right.
very difficult musical compositions. You'd back that up, Kenneth.
Yes, absolutely right. That's
So
the sort of singing, you see, which you could have got a Melba or, Clara Butt to do, and they would have done them delightedly because they are fundamentally diatonic, you see. The rotten stuff is chromatic.
And sure enough, he wound up using Jam Creative Productions jingles for his own TV shows, and most notably, TV Awful.
Another unexpected celebrity bites the dust. On TV, Awful's honest obituary. They're camp, they exterminate. Better watch your backs. It's the gay darling. If you want to know what the stars really sound like, here's your chance with Kamikaze Karaoke. Assassination of the week. Did they live? Bang! Or are they worm food? And now it's time. Now it's time to show the secret films. The clips, the stars. The clips, the stars. Hope we never see. The shows that failed, derailed, and never made it to our screens. We bring you the pilots that crashed. Another swell TV show from Associated Rediffusion.
Which just made me love Jingles even more because it wasn't necessarily limited to just a station ID or call letters or positions on the dial or anything like that. These jingles could be used for just about anything, for any purpose. And Victor Lewis Smith decided to use it as segues for his show, even if the lyrics themselves turned out to be the most out there kind of lyrics that you wouldn't really hear or consider hearing anywhere else.
I know a woman with teeth like a horse, a talking horse called Ransom, of course.
It's nice being Esther. She does well by doing good. It's nice being Esther, but her heart of gold is a heart of wood.
She'd love to meet you if you're sick or lame. Your misfortune will increase her fame.
The patronizing sayings of the thick and the old. She'll parade your illness on hearts of gold. Tearful reunions and raunchy songs, bone marrow transplants and weeing house. She's the queen of sentimentality, condescension and sickly glee. It's nice being Esther.
Nice.
Geraldo, but with more facial hair. It's nice being Esther.
Nice.
With her unnatural people show. But now we must stop 'cause our lawyer says that Esther will sue.
All of which leads to the real reason why we're here. I've always wanted my own jingle. And as I said in my thing from 15 years ago, I did technically have a jingle at a radio station that I worked at, but it just wasn't quite right to me because it just felt like a company-owned jingle. It wasn't something that I could call my own. And for a long time, I've considered wanting to get my own personal cut from Jam Creative Productions, and they are still very much in business, but unfortunately, I've seen how much it can cost to have a fully constructed jingle from scratch, complete with mix-outs. It's like almost $400 before you even consider the taxes and the handling fees for a fully produced jingle with all the mix-outs. So a jingle for my own pretty much turned out to be a pipe dream, basically. Something I never thought I would ever get. And then, just on a whim, I started looking around at different places that had jingle montages and a lot of other collections. And I used to do a bunch of that stuff myself. I used to put together things every Thanksgiving called the Super Feast, which was just 30 minutes of my personal favorite jingles at that point in time and just string them all together and just have it be something that people can listen to. And as I was listening to other people's things, I started noticing this one company out of the UK called Jingleworks. They do work for British radio stations in Ireland, Scotland, Wales, the entire UK, basically. And they've been around for just about as long as Jam Productions. In fact, they have some things that are dating all the way back to the 1950s, so you have to predate Pam's Productions even, if you want to make that comparison. And I took a look around, and it was okay stuff. It was very nice stuff, and more importantly, it was affordable stuff, but still not quite affordable enough that I could just put a whole big compilation together and just embark on one monumental ego trip or anything. And then I noticed something that they had on their front page at jingle.works. That's their website. Every couple months, they have this contest where you enter to win a free, fully produced, fully orchestrated, from top to bottom, complete with mix-outs, a jingle of your own style, your own choosing, your own lyrics. And second prize, or the runner-up prize as they put it, was pretty much the same treatment, only with something called Sonovox. And for those of you who are not audiophiles out there, a Sonovox is basically a device that transmits recorded human or non-human sounds whose vibrations pretty much substitute for a mechanical sound. And let me just play a few examples very quickly.
Music Money Time, Kiss FM, Top 10 at 10, Q103, remembers the 60s, Battle of the Hits, Champion, KS103. Hi, this is Melvin. It's a hit.
So it was either a fully sung jingle or a Sonovox jingle that was up for grabs from this company out in the UK. I entered this contest about 3 months ago, and 3 months later, I find out that I won a Sonovox jingle of my very own. I know this sounds like a weird thing to be excited about, but when you have the background that I have and have been collecting jingles for as long as I have, this just felt like I've come across a treasure that I would never want to part with for whatever reason. So now all I had to do was try to find the right jingle and also the right set of lyrics to compensate for the jingle. Now, I wasn't too familiar with JingleWorks' catalog, so I had to go through a lot of stuff. Like a bunch of stuff. And time, I hope, will permit us to be able to go through a whole bunch of things here, but there were like 36 packages at the very least to take a look at. So I just started going around. I played cut by cut to see what would sound good, what would sound interesting, and more importantly, would they fit the lyrics that I had in mind? And I did have some lyrics in mind. In fact, what I wanted this jingle to be was an official logo for our production company. In case you don't know what our production company is, we call ourselves Horton Road. It's just something that I wanted to have at the end of every episode of a podcast that I would do from here on out. Not necessarily Telehell or anything, or just Telehell, but if I had another idea down the line, I'd be able to do all that stuff. So after going through all the things, I came across this package called Signal Custom. And Signal FM was a radio station that came out of London in the 1980s. I don't know if they're still around or not, but I started listening to some of the Signal cuts, and sure enough, I came across this jingle, and I kind of had a feeling that this was going to be the one.
Your music station, 93.4.
My apologies for having to do that, because for some reason you can't just simply download the MP3 of the jingle. I had to use clever technology to bring that to you, but you know what it sounds like now. And so that was it. That was the jingle that I wanted, and all I had to do was make sure that the lyrics that I wanted to fit it wound up fitting it. So now, for the very first time, you're going to be hearing our production jingles. Or at least the same production jingle cut 5 different ways. The first way is what's known as a wild Sonovox cut, which is just the Sonovox being sung, no background, no instrumentations, no nothing. It's just flat out this.
Another great show from Horton Road.
Now, obviously, without the instrumentation, it doesn't sound too outwardly impressive, but you get the general idea here. And now, as we get a little more fuller here, we have a version of the jingle which, I guess you could say, got cut in half when you hear the final product eventually. It just picks it up from the halfway point, and it sounds like this.
From Horton Road.
And now you're starting to see some pieces coming together here, and this next cut that you're going to be hearing is going to be the version that's going to be playing just on our Patreon shows, and it's really more things coming together, and you'll find out what I mean when I say this.
Another great show from Horton Road.
Okay, and now we're getting closer and closer. So the next version is where the instrumentation actually begins. It's sort of a vamp, if you will, and it leads to this.
From Horton Road.
And all of that leads up to the very last cut, and this is the full mix-out, the full version, all the bells and whistles. This is what's going to appear at the end of our regular shows.
Another great show from Horton Road.
Although now that I think about it, I think that introduction may be just a little too long. But fortunately, with our fancy editing software, I can just slightly cut out just a little bit of that introduction in the beginning so that it jumps right into the sparkly parts.
Another great show from Horton Road.
So there you have it. The official Horton Road Productions jingle, courtesy of Jingle Works. And I hope I get to win one of their contests again someday because I have some pretty good ideas for the fully sung jingles. But that's another story for another day. And as for the reason why we call our company Horton Road Productions, there's the music. Sorry, we're out of time. Bye.
And so it was from a love of jingles that... Hang on. I'm so sick of this already. It's only been a few minutes. Maybe if we hit the transponder here...
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Do I sound better? Do I sound worse? Well, at least I don't sound like I'm garbled up on a weekend binge of Big Macs. But anyway, all right, for the second story, we go into the year 2005, and I'm working at this place, like I told you, as an internship. It's a daytimer station in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't really have any experience to be a real paid DJ, or anybody in radio for that matter, so find out why, after hearing this air check of myself, I never would have hired me.
Everything has to start somewhere. You can't just walk into a radio station and say, hey, I'd like to be a DJ. They'll throw you out on your ass. You have to build yourself up towards these kind of things. You have to know how certain things work. You have to know, at the very least, how to competently use a microphone and editing software. That's what I had to learn in the year 2004 when my radio career officially began at a station called WTBQ in Warwick, New York. They're still around to this day, and to this day, they are still a 500-watt daytimer AM station, but they have since added an FM station just so they can cover more people. It was an unusual station. It was part local. In fact, it was almost entirely local, give or take a couple pre-taped shows nationwide, but it was literally local, in the sense that just about anybody off the street would come in and do a show if you were to pay the people to put the show on, or as it's known, broker time. Unfortunately, I didn't really have enough money to make a show at that time, and some days I still don't. But seriously, in 2004, I learned just enough about editing and enough about voice control, and they even let me do a couple commercials, which is another subject for another time. But I learned more than enough about at least recording something and editing something and putting something together that I was able to do what's known in the business as faking it till you make it. I produced a fake air check that I hoped would get me in the door at some other local radio stations near my home. Now, I should point out that in 2004, this is the summer of 2004, by the way, so I was still only 19 years old. I had absolutely no idea how certain things worked except for very rudimentary things. And also somehow my voice was even deeper back then than it is now. Must be an age thing. Nevertheless, what you're about to hear is my actual faked air check that got me my actual first paid job in radio 1 year later. A couple footnotes before we begin. I'm doing the best that I can to trim out the music because I know music and the internet are not exactly best friends, so to speak, if you know what I mean. So a lot of it's going to be cut out. There is no Q95, even though we use jingles that say Q95. I actually ripped off some jingles from a package that Jam Creative Productions did for a station out in Detroit, which has long since changed its identity, but that's neither here nor there. And listening to this now, I can honestly tell you that I wanted to punch myself. That's how stupid I sound here, and now you get to hear it with me. Ladies and gentlemen, my fake air check.
Just a minute past 11 o'clock at WTBQ-FM Poughkeepsie, Middletown. I am Justin Case, and we're going to give you a chance to win $25,000. But first, here is Stevie Wonder laying the superstition on us on Q95.
Q95.
Q95, I am Justin Case. It is hotter than chutzpah out there. It is going to be up to 98 degrees. 98 degrees, and I decided to make the decision of wearing long pants. Thank God I work in air conditioning, and thank God my car is air conditioned too. And thank God the Galleria Mall is air conditioned in Middletown, that is. Rich Ball is going to be there from 2 to 4 p.m. with your chance to win $25,000. It is the Q95 Daylight Robbery game. You do not want to miss it. 2 to 4 at the Galleria Mall. Here's Steely Dan reeling in the years at Q95.
Everlasting summer, you can see it fading fast.
There's always a better variety. More music. The new Q95. Better variety. More music. The new Q95.
Lift me, won't you lift me?
Carole King with Jazzman on Q95. I'm Justin Case, and we also heard Fifth Dimension with The Age of Aquarius and Let the Sun Shine In, which is certainly the case today with a high of 98 degrees. If you are indoors, please stay indoors. Drink as much water as you can, be in air conditioning, and if all else fails, you might want to consider booking a flight to Antarctica. But that is aside from the point. If you simply must be anywhere today, please be sure it's the Galleria Mall between 2 and 4 p.m. where Rich Ball is going to be. He's going to be giving you chances at $25,000. It is the Daylight Robbery game here at Q95. Not only do we have 25 grand up for grabs, we also have a whole bunch of great prizes from Best Buy, including a 32-inch Panasonic flat screen TV. We also have DVD players, CD players, DVDs for a year, CDs for a year, and a whole bunch of other prizes that are up for grabs. All you have to do is just fill out the sheet. And who knows, maybe Frank Truitt might pull out your name weekday mornings at 7:20. All you have to do is just call within 1 hour, and you will win whatever prize that we have available. And no matter what happens, you will be qualified for that $25,000. In the meantime, we are going to be taking a break right now, but coming up next, we got Coldplay, we have Beck, and we have The Who. And coming up right now on Q95, advertising. Back in a minute.
Here at Arthur Daniels Heartland, we work every day to make your life livable in ways you don't appreciate.
Begging for mercy.
Brazen paper towels. We're an Arthur Daniels Heartland company, but you don't need to know that.
The new Q95. The new Q95.
The Hudson Valley's Q95. Justin Case here, trying to keep things cool here with 98 degrees as our high temperature for today. I don't know about you, but we have to think about something cool. No, we have to think of something that's just downright cold. Cold, do you hear me? And it doesn't get any better than Coldplay. Here's Clocks on Q95. Back with the new pollution on Q95. We also heard Coldplay and The Who and what? I'm sorry? What are you talking about? What do you mean time's up? I just got started. Look, as soon as the cuckoo clock tells me to leave, then I'll... What?
Sorry, we're out of time.
All right, I had to hear it from Jingle Singers. I guess I'm out of here right now, so stay tuned. Rich Ball is going to be broadcasting live coming up next at 2 o'clock from the Galleria Mall at Crystal Run. He's going to give you your chance to win $25,000 with a Daylight Robbery game. Stay tuned. He's going to have a whole lot more of your favorites for you, including Keith Richards and Mick Jagger, otherwise known as the Rolling Stones. I almost lost it there. We also have Billy Joel coming up. We have David Bowie coming up. We have Shakira. We have Smokey Robinson. We have a whole bunch more of your favorites. Until then, I am going to be out of here for a few more hours, and then I'll be back tomorrow morning doing this again from 11 to 2. And remember, just in case you forgot, as usual, it is nice to be important, but much more than that is more important to be nice. Make it a good day today. Keep cool. I will see you later. See you around.
Okay, let's see. here, screw there, bolt here, wing nut there, and attach the wires to the potato so that the clock will stop flashing. And let's see what happens now. Am I sounding any clearer? Anybody out there, can somebody tell me if I'm sounding any clearer? Well, at least I don't hear any static hiss in the background, so we must be a step in the right direction. Anyway, from there, I actually wound up with a paid job in radio, and in doing so, I actually got to appear in radio commercials, in addition to being a total a-hole over the air. And with that, we'd like to present to you this vignette about all the really terrible, yet still somehow beloved and somehow charming local advertising that I used to do in the early days of my radio career. Not a vacuum tube. You know how hard those are to replace now? Anyway, here's thing number 3. So, in case you missed it, I pretty much humiliated myself by presenting to you a faked air check that eventually got me my first job in radio.
Just in case you forgot, as usual, it is nice to be important, but much more than that is more important to be nice. Make it a good day today. Keep cool. I will see you later. See you around.
And don't worry, I've already booked an appointment with a therapist, but that's not the point here today. The point here today is that air check wound up getting me actual work. But there was still a lot of things that I needed to find out about radio. The most important thing that I had to learn about was the fact that it's not always a race to read advertising copy. I know it seems like it should be a race, considering that most radio commercials are either 30 to 60 seconds long, and you're only given enough time to read things. But that was before I realized there was this thing called editing, which can make you sound as if you're reading something for 30 to 60 seconds at a time, in spite of there being too much or too little advertising copy. And what you're about to hear is living proof of all that, because we'd like to present to you now just a handful of examples of what happens when you're inexperienced, yet considered a professional at the same time. Hunker down, folks. These are my most cringiest commercials in the early years of my career, and for lack of a better term, we're calling this hyperactive advertising. And for good reason, too, because, again, I had just turned 20 at that point, and I really thought to myself that this was going to be the pinnacle of everything. Little did I realize there's obviously a lot more to it than just reading things, but you'll find out as we move along here. But, oh boy, this first commercial is something that I'd like to call split personalities. I tried to voice 2 people in the same breath in this particular spot, and it was for a heating oil company. This was before I realized that, hey, just bring another person in from the hallway and they can be the second person.
Double your refreshment.
Hello, my name is Ed Anderman of Anderman Oil Company. And my name is Gary Anderman. And even though we're twins, we're not doing a double mint commercial. We want to take a moment to remind you that when you need your next oil fill-up or your oil burner needs service, you should give us a call here at Anderman Oil. Our goal at Anderman Oil has always been to ensure the complete satisfaction of every customer while offering knowledgeable and friendly service at competitive rates. We provide our customers with the following services. We have an oil burner service. We sell retail fuel. We have diesel fuel, kerosene, and other fuels too. At Anderman Oil, our services cover all types of projects, including residential, commercial, and industrial projects. We're dedicated to providing our clients with prompt, professional, and friendly service. So give us a call today or stop by our offices at... Darn it, Ed, you were supposed to wear the same denim shirt and blue pants as me so we look alike for the commercial. Relax, Gary. I think they get it. And remember, we're on the radio. Anderman Oil.
One of the things that you need to learn when doing audio production is to get rid of the small stuff, if you will. Now, you're listening to me right now. You hear me breathing. You got to get rid of some breaths. I'm a very sibilant S kind of person, but that's just because I have really big front teeth. And every once in a while, I tend to pop my peas. And nowadays, whenever that happens, I just go through some fancy editing tricks and deplosify them, if you will. I didn't learn that lesson when I was 20 years old, and that's why you wind up with commercials like this.
It's going on this week at the Trading Post in Rock Hill. The fabulous 3-day meat sale. Time to stock the freezer with the famous Trading Post meats. Store-made ground round, only $1.69 a pound. Mouth-watering T-bone, porterhouse, or boneless New York strip steaks, all only $4.99 a pound. Delicious Hatfield whole boneless pork loins, $1.99 a pound. And fresh pork spare ribs, $1.79 a pound. And oh, so much more. Check the special insert in this week's flyer for more savings. These prices are the lowest you'll find anywhere and are good while supplies last. So take advantage of them this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You'll also find some other specials like all-purpose potatoes, 10 pounds, just $1.99. 2% milk, $2.29 a gallon. Surefine Deli Gourmet ham, $2.99 a pound. And Surefine Oven Brown Turkey Breast, $2 a pound. Remember, it's 3 days only. While you're at the Trading Post, stop by the Boar's Head Hot Dog Cart for lunch Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 11 to 3. The Trading Post in Rock Hill, famous for its meat and definitely worth the trip from anywhere.
Then there are those times when you're given a 30-second commercial music bed and you have to have everything fit into that bed. No matter how much you try to edit things down, but you can't edit things down because it's supposed to be in there. Everything. The copy, the music, everything. When that happens, you wind up with commercials like these where it's essentially trying to fit a watermelon inside a water balloon.
When it comes to car insurance, the service you get from State Farm is so good that people can't help but think it costs more. But with discounts up to 40%, State Farm can be a better deal than you think. State Farm agents are here to help you make sure you get all the coverage you need and discounts up to 40%. So whether you're a good driver, have more than one car, or have a student with good grades, your State Farm agent will find discounts to help you save big. For the best value in car insurance, call your local State Farm agent free to see what you can save.
State Farm is there.
The whole watermelon into a water balloon metaphor also applies when you're dealing with a donut bed, or something that's got a little bit of a trail at the beginning, a trail at the end, and stuff in between where you have to say your thing. These at least have a little bit more breathing room, especially if it's 60 seconds long.
Behind you with support, ahead of you with ideas.
The Sullivan County Chamber of Commerce would like to introduce you to another networking opportunity, or mixer per se. It's held in the evening from 5:30 to 7 p.m., and it's called the Sullivan County Chamber's Third Thursdays. It's another opportunity for you to do more business. Sullivan County Chamber's Third Thursday this month will be this Thursday, May 15th from 5:30 till 7 at Matthews on Main in Callicoon. This month's sponsor is Catskill Hudson Bank. So if you're the boss, you should be there, and if you can't come, send the crew. Advance registration is recommended, so call the Chamber today at Remember, Third Thursdays are free to all Chamber members and only $10 for non-members. So don't miss the Sullivan County Chamber's Third Thursday Business Exchange Mixer going on this Thursday night, May the 15th at Matthews on Main in Callicoon. Make your reservations today by calling the Chamber at It's time to do more business.
Of course, every once in a while, you have to do something that's not in your own voice, not unlike that spot where I had to play Twins. And sometimes the voices that you have to do have to be right on the verge of being dignified. Like when it's St. Patrick's Day and you have a new kind of coffee to promote.
County. Panda's Java Joint, Route 52 East, Liberty next to Super Suds Car and Truck Wash.
St. Patty's Day is upon us, and Panda's Java Joint would like to introduce the Dirty Irishman coffee. It's like a 4-leaf clover for your mouth. Panda's Java Joint says stop on by and show some love for a Dirty Irishman. Happy St. Patty's from Panda's Java Joint.
But eventually, after a couple years, you wind up picking up the swing of things. You're more paced. You're more confident in your read. You don't sound like you're trying to do your best Don LaFontaine impression, and instead, you try to be yourself.
What is the definition of a sign? A notice bearing a name, direction, warning, or advertisement that's displayed or posted for public view.
Here's your sign.
Do you have a proper sign for your business? No? So come on. You gotta call J&A Graphics of Monticello. 796 J&A Graphics specializes in all sorts of signage. Want truck lettering? They can do it. Do you want to put big logos on the side of your vehicle? They can do it. Or what about stand signs? Or how about magnetic signs, plastic signs, metal signs, all types of banners and much more? They can do them too. If you can dream it, J&A Graphics can make it. 796 J&A Graphics says if it's a small job, same-day service is possible. Just give them a call and ask them. J&A Graphics, 796.
Here's your sign.
Need a sign? Call J&A Graphics of Monticello today at 796.
And I wanted to save this one for last, partly because there is a bit of a story behind this, and also because I legitimately can't believe this actually made it onto broadcast air. Quick scene setting for you. There was this nightclub, I guess you could say, out in the Catskill Mountains that was running for a couple years while I was up there, and it was called the Rock Bar. This was like a place that was promoting like a country night every Monday and a 80s night every Tuesday, and like everything was going to be available to you 7 days a week. There was one promotion that this place did that I actually read the copy for, and being a 20-year-old kid with little experience, this was kind of before I realized that there was such a thing as tact, and also proofreading, and also notifying people that maybe what I'm about to read may not be suitable for a family radio audience. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you the Pimp and Hoe commercial.
Do you like to eat, drink, and listen? Are you looking for a place with live music? Rock Bar. Then you just found it. In fact, Rock Bar has something for everyone. Rock Bar starts this Thursday with Country 95.9 and yours truly, Just in Case, with our weekly Country Night, full of games, fun, and free admission. On Friday, live performance by Disarray. Come check out the area's hottest bands every Friday night at Rock Bar, followed by DJ Billy the Kid. $5 martinis all night and free admission. And this Saturday, it's a Pimp and Hoe party. Anyone dressed as a pimp or hoe gets in free. Competition for the best dressed pimp and hoe with a $100 cash prize. Plus, we'll be giving trophies for Rock Bar's Pimp of the Year. Get there before 11 p.m. and you're in for free. And ladies, you have up until midnight to get in for free. And Rock Bar wants you to know that they're now serving food all night long. We want to see you there. Rock Bar has something for everyone. And remember, 21 and over, proper attire requested. The Rock Bar is right in Liberty on Route 52. For more information, call the Rock Bar. Pimp and Hoe Party is coming to Rock Bar this Saturday night, and we want to see you there. Rock Bar.
So, true story. After I did the commercial and put it all together, I did edit back then, very sparingly, but whatever. I put it together, I loaded it into the system that plays all the music in the commercials, and the second that commercial aired, I was called into the general manager's office, and she chewed me out, pretty much saying, "How could you read something like this? Didn't you think?" And me being a kid, I was like, hey, I'm only reading the ad. Talk to the salesperson, all that stuff. Unfortunately, because this radio station that I worked at had the smallest staff in history, nobody got fired, nor were they able to get fired because who the hell else would wind up replacing them at a moment's notice? So there you have it, my cringiest commercials from my earliest days. But need I remind you, there's about 20 years worth of experience here, and this was just scratching the surface. Okay, so I think according to the instructions, I have to wail on the box 3 times hard and then 6 times soft, and then another 4 more times incredibly hard. So I think I may be making this a lot worse. Anyway, after all of that, stuff happened. Eventually, as you do in radio, you tend to go from town to town, up and down the dial. And one of those places down the dial that I went to was Plymouth, Massachusetts, where, through a very freak circumstance, I wound up actually doing something transatlantically, as you'll hear in this story about my brief visit to the BBC. Yes, I know it kind of seems a little egocentric to do, but I like talking about the past, especially at this day and age, because you sit back, you reflect, you wonder where things went right, where they went wrong, and a whole bunch of other things in between that you thought to yourself, wow, that was actually kind of fun. And one of those instances happened one day in 2008. I was just arriving at a radio station in Plymouth, Massachusetts when this happened, and because I had just arrived, I didn't have enough vacation time to go home for Thanksgiving. So I had to fill in for somebody during that day, and as luck and fate would have it, it was me and an engineer that was working there that same day too, and I want to give him a shout out, Nick Moscato, wherever you are. Miss you, buddy. And he was actually the one that got the phone call from, of all places, the BBC. Yes, the high, mighty, and definitely upper crust BBC. And not necessarily the national BBC, but an affiliate of theirs in Plymouth, England. Obviously, it being Thanksgiving Day, they wanted to do a piece on what life was like from one Plymouth to another Plymouth, and as luck would have it, I just happened to be in the studio. What you're about to hear is what took place on that interview Thanksgiving Day of 2008 with a host named Victor Morgan, or Vic for short. I honestly had no idea what he was going to ask me, nor did I care what he was going to ask me, but suffice to say, this was a very unique experience and definitely something that I will not forget. Stay tuned after this interview, however, because it has been 15 years or so since this happened, and I do need to throw in a couple annotations here and there. But in the meantime, here I am on Vic Morgan's The Late Show on the Plymouth BBC affiliate, Thanksgiving Day, American Thanksgiving, by the way, 2008.
It's just a lovely time of year.
Sounds a pretty good day to me, and we'll be crossing to Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Hi, I'm Justin Hart. I'm the production director at WPLM AM and FM in Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Hearing about Thanksgiving there, and also we've got the music tease for this Thursday. Oh, what's that then? I'll play it again.
Across the Southwest, The Late Show with Vic Morgan.
And of course there's Plymouth in the Southwest and Plymouth in Massachusetts.
Hi, I'm Justin Hart. I'm the production director at WPLM AM and FM in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And I wish everybody across the pond and even here in America a very happy Thanksgiving.
Well, Justin, it's great talking to you. Thank you for taking the time out on what I guess is a strange day because a lot of people are off work, but sadly you're not.
Yeah, see, the thing is, I kind of volunteered to do an afternoon show later today so that I can earn myself a day off because the way the calendar is situated, Christmas is going to fall on a Thursday this year, but we all have to work the next day, so I'm trying to get that next day off, so that's why I'm working here today.
Absolutely right. Now, tell us about Plymouth, Massachusetts, because obviously we've heard of it with reference to the Pilgrim Fathers, but tell us a little bit about the city.
Well, the city itself is actually quite a sprawling town. I mean, there's a bit of the old-fashioned colonialism charm, but there's a whole bunch of modernism, too. I mean, you have all your major stores, but you also have all the historical stuff. Plymouth Rock's still there. A model of the Mayflower's still there. Everybody really gets into it on Thanksgiving. And, you know, I actually just moved here 2 months ago from New York, and I'm just still trying to get used to a whole bunch of things around here. But basically what I've seen, it's pretty much a quaint little town, which is kind of an understatement. I mean, there's little towns, and then there's just a lot more. There's a whole lot more to it than that. It's pretty much a mid-sized city, and everybody works and lives comfortably there.
And, of course, you're not too far away from the Plymouth Plantation, are you?
No, I believe I'm just a stone's throw away from it.
Yeah, well, I've been there, so it's a very good experience. But if you're from New York, then, are you a New York Yankees fan?
I get that a lot, and I'm not ashamed to admit that, yes, I am a Yankee fan living in Massachusetts, but, you know, ever since the Sox won their 2 series a few years ago, it's kind of died down a little bit, so nobody really minds.
And, of course, they didn't get in the playoffs, the Yankees, so I suppose you can sort of, you know, bear it for the time being, can you?
Hey, listen, we got 26 championships. They have a whole lot of catching up to do.
Now, in terms of your radio station, then, tell us about the radio station.
The radio station is, it's actually two radio stations. We have AM and FM, although AM has different programming than we do here on FM. FM is what's known as adult contemporary, or AC, and we pretty much play, light music, stuff that's upbeat, obviously, but not too downbeat. And since we're getting ready for Christmas, we're loading in a whole bunch of Christmas music right now, and we're pretty much, what my job is as the production director is to not only get all the Christmas music in, but also to put the commercials together. And believe me, there's a lot of them.
I was going to say, that's a big job, isn't it? To get all that done.
It is a big job, but somebody's got to do it.
Sure. Now, tell us about when you start playing the Christmas music, because, the listeners to this program are often asking me, when are you going to start playing it? And when we don't play it till later on in December. So when do you start?
Well, we actually start today, but we start by doing like one song per hour, and then as the weeks progress, we start to do a little bit more and then a little bit more and all that stuff. Some radio stations around here in the Boston market, they do Christmas 24/7 pretty much earlier than most other stations do, but, people like Christmas music for a reason, because it puts them in a good mood.
Sure, and I guess the thing about America is it's slightly different to here, because your holiday season starts today, doesn't it?
In a sense, yes, it does start today. The big unofficial start is tomorrow with the shopping on Black Friday, as we call it. That's when you get all the big discounts on just about everything in every store there is. But, this is usually the time of year when it all gets into high gear.
And what about your good self? I mean, obviously you're at work at the moment, but will you be getting a Thanksgiving meal later on?
I actually was fortunate enough to make my meal last night, and I brought it here with me because I know I'm going to be working into the night, so I like to be able to have a little bit of Thanksgiving on the job.
And is it the traditional?
Instead of a turkey pieces, I got chicken cutlets, also some stovetop stuffing, and some corn, and these cranberry flavored, I guess they call them craisins. It's something from Ocean Spray. I don't know if you have them over in England, but basically it's just like little cranberries freeze-dried, or not freeze-dried, just sun-dried, and they look like raisins, but they taste like cranberry.
Strange, but very tasty, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, how much of a big deal is Thanksgiving in the Plymouth area? Because presumably, it's kind of where it all started, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yes. I mean, on my way into work, I saw a lot of people gathering around the Mayflower trying to get a good look at it. Definitely lots of people dressed up in pilgrim regalia, either as a pilgrim or as an Indian type person or something like that. But, they're really into it because, 1620 was when it happened, and they really take their traditions seriously. Pretty much in New England, they take traditions seriously, but especially in Plymouth.
Sure. And is it a bigger deal than it is in New York? I mean, you've got the Macy's Parade, haven't you, in New York? So it is a big deal up there, isn't it?
Well, it's not quite the big deal as it is in New York. I mean, New York's in a class by itself.
Yeah.
It's put on one big show. But, you got to give the people in New England and Massachusetts credit because, they pretty much have their origin points, and they know how to start a party, if you know what I mean.
Sure. And in terms of the weather, what have you got there at the moment?
Right now, it's actually quite sunny, breezy and cold, but, that's the seasons for you.
And do you get snow? Are you expecting that anytime soon?
For my car's sake, I hope not for a good long time, but probably in the next couple months, maybe some snow.
Sure. And how different is it living in Plymouth, Massachusetts to New York? Because having been to both places, there is a difference in size, isn't there? And New York is New York, for goodness sake. So how different is it?
Well, I actually got to clarify. When I say New York, I don't mean like New York City. I'm from the state of New York.
The state of New York, right.
I'm like 90 minutes away from the city. I've been there and everything, but I actually live in an area that's, believe it or not, smaller than Plymouth is, so this is actually like big fish in a small pond syndrome here.
So what city do you come from, or town do you come from?
I come from a small town in the Catskill Mountains called, and there's really like about 600 people there, but, we all managed to get by, and, there's other cities connecting to it, so that's how we are able to get our kicks doing whatever it is that we do. But it's a small town, and in comparison, this Plymouth may as well be New York City to me. So
Yeah,
that's pretty
sure.
much all there is to it.
You see, you've mentioned the Catskill Mountains, and that sounds absolutely beautiful, is it?
Oh, yes, absolutely, especially when it snows. I mean, I still got to get good tires and brakes for it, but it's absolutely picture-perfect postcard weather.
And how many people work at your radio station?
People who work here, I don't know absolutely everybody yet who works here, but I know maybe at least 10, 20 people, I'm sure, altogether.
And a busy time, I guess. You know, you mentioned you've got to get all the commercials ready for Christmas. And I suppose the one thing you've got to do is make sure you satisfy the people who advertise with you, haven't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like a combination of baptism by fire when it comes to a whole bunch of things. 'Cause, you know, it's like that episode of I Love Lucy. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's like the one where she's in the candy factory and all the little candies start coming all at once, and they just got to keep wrapping them up. That's what it kind of feels like right now, but I can manage.
And then you get somebody from England phone you up and make sure you have to waste another 10 minutes of your day.
Hey, listen, this is actually the quiet period right now. When I'm on 3 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time, that's when I truly get to work.
Well, that's 8 o'clock our time, so you've only got, 47 minutes to go when we're recording this?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, listen, it's been great talking to you, and I'm really pleased that I managed to catch somebody, because I kind of assumed that it would be rare to find anybody at work today.
Well, I just volunteered, and I figured, you know, it's all out of necessity. I need the extra day off for the holidays, the other holidays that's coming, and I figured, you know, I haven't worked here for enough months yet to earn vacation time, so I may as well make my own. So
Absolutely.
Here we are.
And have you been to the Plymouth Rock? You've seen that. You've done all that, have you?
I have seen a whole bunch of things there. I've seen Plymouth Rock. I've seen the Mayflower. And hopefully, if it gets a little bit warmer, I'd like to see the Plymouth Plantation.
Well, you'll love it, because I've been there, and it's a great experience. So there we are. But it's been great talking to you, Justin, and I really hope you enjoy the rest of Thanksgiving.
Well, I appreciate you calling all the way from across the pond here, Vic, and I greatly appreciate talking to you.
I was following the eye, was following the eye, was following the eye.
So now a few footnotes to that interview. It did air, and it wasn't live, thankfully, because time differences obviously would kind of screw things up. For the record, I did record it at 3 p.m. Eastern Time in the afternoon for it to air at 1 a.m. England time. And by the time it was 1 a.m. England time, I had already finished my shift for the day at 8 p.m. So that's how I was able to capture the audio. Footnote number 2. Just out of curiosity, I checked to find out if Victor Morgan was still around, and he very much was, and I know this because 4 years ago, I found him through Facebook and quickly reminded him who I was and how we met and all that stuff. And he did indeed confirm that he was the Victor Morgan that was on BBC in Plymouth, England, and as of 2020, he is retired from radio, and we hope that Victor is enjoying his retirement, and even more importantly, we hope that Victor is still with us. And footnote number 3... the Boston Red Sox have since won 2 additional World Series, but they still got a lot of catching up to do. Okay, let's go through our collection of metallic alloys. We got gold, because that's a higher conductor. We've got silver, which I think will increase our equilibrium. We got some copper, because they're not making pennies anymore. And we have some aluminum, because I just want to make one of those giant foil balls that Pee Wee Herman used to make. And let's connect a wire here, and a wire here, and a wire there, and a wire there, and hit the switch. Maybe I should have studied to be an engineer instead of half-assing it. I mean, I should have done something, because in between the end of my time in Plymouth and doing more production work, I had to think on my feet and have to think about other ways to be on the air without actually being on the air. And that's when I discovered the joys of internet radio. Here now is the tale of TD Tracks. I would not be able to do this show were it not for the fact that I have a background in radio. I've been in radio for many years now. As a matter of fact, we're closing in on 20 years. For the beginning, I want to say 5 years of it, I was a DJ, and I also got to learn how to run a radio station, and that's another story for another place and time altogether. After I realized that being a DJ was not all it was cracked up to be, I decided to throw all of my attention to production because to this day, I still find the creative process of just putting together either a commercial or a piece of imaging or anything involving just putting something together out of nothing, I feel that's the most satisfying thing in the world as an audio producer. And one of those things that I put together was something that actually came about because, full disclosure, I happen to work for a place which is a very sizable broadcasting empire, and I do stuff for them, and I still do to this day. But I had this idea that I wanted to pitch to them, and unfortunately, for one reason or another, it wound up getting rejected, but I didn't want the effort to go completely to waste. So, I'm kind of lamenting about the failure of pitching this idea to my superiors, and a couple of coworkers tell me, you should just do it on your own, see what happens. And sure enough, this is exactly what I did. The year was 2017, and the idea was a simple one: a radio station dedicated to TV theme songs. In fact, not just TV theme songs, but also songs from television, and also maybe cover versions of theme songs, and also album-length pop versions of those songs as well, and there were plenty of them to be found. It was the year 2017 when I started putting together something called TV Tracks, and basically it was just going to be a 24-hour loop of all these great moments in TV, whether it be the songs, the moments, and all that stuff. And for the most part, I thought it had what it took to actually have listeners. Now, the thing is, when you're doing an internet radio station, it costs money. And I didn't have that much money at the time. So I was looking for a cheap way to do it without having to pay for things like BMI licenses or ASCAP or any other thing that seemed to be legally distinctive. And I found out that there was this page out of the Netherlands called Radionomy, and I think they're still around. And I don't blame them at all for this next part of the story, just because it just happens to be how they work. But basically, they have this interesting trial basis period where if you maintain a certain audience for the first few months, then they renew you for another 6 months. But then every 6 months after that, you got to make sure that you hit your numbers, so to speak. Otherwise, they're going to take you off the air and every trace of you is going to go away. So, long story short, TV Tracks, in spite of every best effort that there was, lasted only 9 months, from September of 2017 to, I believe, May of 2018, but we did what we could to keep things afloat. I even had to open up a bunch of music players just to give the sensation that people were listening, just so I could hit the first renewal point, but it was an interesting experience, but it's also one that I'm never going to forget because I've always been passionate about TV. I'm always going to be passionate about radio, and for a brief 9-month period, the two worlds converged together. Which brings us to why we're here. Speaking of things that I didn't want to have go to waste, this is going to be a collection. What you're about to hear is going to be a collection of all kinds of imaging pieces that I personally put together for this channel. Now, I'm going to try really hard not to be too redundant because there are some things that do repeat over and over again, and I don't want to overinflate what little ego I have. Malnourished as it may be sometimes, but I assure you, this is not an ego trip of any kind. It's just something that I really enjoyed doing, and I wanted to share with some of you guys some of the efforts that I put into this. And we're going to begin with I want to say it's a 3-minute long piece that launched the channel. Now, in getting everything prepared for TV Tracks, we did like sort of this hour-long loop that just kept on repeating for a couple of days, which was nothing but commercial sound bites and also some songs related to TV. But when we launched in September of 2017, after that loop played for the last time, this was the first thing that hopefully some people heard. This was the launch piece of TV Tracks.
Radio. Television. You can't have one without the other.
Nothing for you.
Don't you think it's time radio returned the favor?
This is a brand new show.
Introducing TV Tracks, a special channel that focuses on everybody's favorite part of television, the theme songs.
Thank you for being a friend. I don't care what you say anymore. Now this is a story all about how, believe it or not, all along the way, you're not the boss of me now. Math, science, history, unraveling the mystery. You woke up this morning.
Some of your all-time favorite TV theme songs in their original pop versions, and even some classics performed by others.
How to get to Sesame Street. Through early morning podcasting.
But why stop at just the theme songs? How about songs that are written for television?
I've got a theory that it's a demon, a dancing demon. Nah, something isn't right there.
Forget the Quickie Mart. Goodbye to Quickie Mart.
They're the fellas at the freaking FCC.
TV Tracks. It's our way of saluting television, because without radio, TV would never have existed. TV Tracks.
Guess they're gonna have to get me a TV.
Don't touch that dial.
And it was just that for the next, well, not just that, but it was launching ourselves right from that point. And I believe the first song that we ever played was a TV theme song melody from, of all things, a Family Guy album. I think it was their Live in Vegas album, where it was Brian and Stewie Griffin singing big band versions of TV theme songs, which sort of, I guess, captured whatever the mood of the channel was going to be, minus certain other elements. I don't know. Like I said, it's been 5 years, so some details are a little hazy right now. And as is the case with any radio stations, you hear stuff in between the songs. And there's a term for that is imaging. And we produced quite a lot of imaging, and I should also say that when I say we, I mean I, because I put all this together myself, just like I've been putting together Telehell all by myself all this time. And here now is a collection of some of the sweepers, or other imaging pieces. These are like little 10-second interludes, basically, of the stuff that we played in between the songs.
And now here's a feature you're sure to like.
TV Tracks. We've come a long way since Rabbit Ears.
This is a brand new show.
TV Tracks. Radio gave birth to television. Don't you think it's about time TV returned the favor?
What are you, from a radio station?
TV Tracks. TV Tracks.
Dynamite!
Don't touch that dial. You know the old saying, 100 channels but nothing is on?
Have I got good news for you?
Luckily, we cut out the middleman.
Oh my God!
TV Tracks.
Tonight, we're going to have a lot of fun on television.
TV Tracks. Why watch TV when you can listen to it? TV Tracks. You're in tune with TV's greatest hits. TV Tracks. Ever wish to hear all your favorite TV theme songs in just one place?
Mecca hi, Mecca hiney ho.
Looks like that wish has been granted. TV Tracks. TV Tracks. Why would anyone need another? 70 years of television in just one place.
No channel changing required.
This is the greatest discovery since television or something.
This is TV Tracks. Celebrating 7 decades of television.
Put aside the everyday world and come with us into the realm of imagination.
You're plugged in to TV Tracks. You're listening to TV Tracks, a station that's 100% listener supported. That means no commercials, which means we'll never do any of this.
Charlie says, love my gun and plenty.
or this.
Add sweet cream butter to hot popcorn.
And don't even think about us doing this.
You make a buffer nutter.
So if you want to keep us from playing this,
Hey, how about a nice Hawaiian punch?
Sure.
all you have to do is this. Now, like I said, I do have a lot of radio experience in my blood, and so much so that I really wanted to try to make this sound as much like a properly timed and properly formatted radio station as I possibly could. Now, because it was an internet station, there were some things that I guess were not necessarily needed, but I still wanted it to feel like, you could set your watch to things, so to speak. Now, anybody who listens to radio, like terrestrial radio, knows that every hour at the top of the hour, they identify themselves. They say, W so, and city of origin. So that's what's known in the business as a legal ID. And you have to say that every hour because it's an FCC requirement that you have to identify yourselves. It's a very long, convoluted story, but that's always been the case both on radio and in television. Not so with the internet, but I wanted to be sure that every time a new hour of TV tracks started, there would be something that would let people know that, hey, it's a new hour. So I came up with a couple of these top-of-the-hour IDs, which were just a collection of various moments in TV history interspliced in between each other. And there's a lot of mixing involved, so there's some things that are more subtle, more nuanced, some things are hit over the head, and because I don't want to play every single one of them, because I'm looking at the archives and it says that there are 9 top-of-the-hour pieces, I'm only going to play 2 of them for you right now because I know we all don't have all day. So here is the first top-of-the-hour ID for TV tracks.
Wait, where's Scooby-Doo?
This is Maxwell Smart, 1886, calling control.
Nothing for you.
You're plugged in to TV's greatest hits. This is TV Tracks. Batteries not included.
And now here is the 9th top-of-the-hour ID for TV tracks.
And now stand by for adventure.
Because Super Bass-O-Matic 76 is the tool that lets you use the whole bass with no fish waste without scaling, cutting, or gutting.
I'm Mo. I'm Larry. I'm Curly. Let's get going. Everybody ready? Yeah!
You're plugged in to TV's greatest hits. This is TV Tracks.
Do what tastes right.
Now, the thing that we use to close out that piece of imaging is basically something that we tried to rotate with every single one of them. I wanted to do like more and more and more of those IDs, but the capper to each one would be just a random classic commercial slogan. So you've heard things like batteries not included, a little dabble do ya, home of the Whopper, all that stuff. So we actually wound up doing about 24 of those. And again, we're not going to play every single one of them because I know your time is valuable. So here now in a very high-end filter is just some of my favorite, I guess you could say, slug lines for the end of that top-of-the-hour ID. So my apologies in advance if you have a hard time hearing them. Like I said, ran through a filter, so enjoy these.
TV Tracks.
Have you had your break today?
TV Tracks.
Think outside the bun.
TV Tracks.
Good.
TV Tracks.
So easy, a caveman can do it.
TV Tracks.
Good to the last drop.
TV Tracks.
Oh, what a feeling.
TV Tracks.
Eat fresh.
TV Tracks.
Gather round the good stuff.
TV Tracks.
It's finger licking good.
And so forth. Now, this was an internet radio station, like I said, so as you can imagine, there weren't exactly any commercial breaks. Like, we didn't have anybody sponsoring the channel. It was just going to be a 24/7 loop of things, but I wanted this to sound as authentic as I possibly could. So, and this is a bit of a carryover into our current hobby of Telehell, we like to throw in a vintage commercial break at the bottom of the hour, or the midpoint of the hour, like the half-hour point. And it would just be me saying TV Tracks will be back after these messages, and then we just play, those commercial snippets that I alluded to for the big imaging piece. So we just took those apart and just turned them into 30-second pieces, and here now is an example of one of them.
TV Tracks will return after these messages.
2 scoops. 2 scoops. 2 scoops.
We said that.
Said that. 2 scoops. 2 scoops.
You got a style that's all your own. I like the Sprite in you.
We are driven.
That's why you're crazy kind of people. You want something better. You're Wendy's kind of people. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
I'm a pepper, he's a pepper, she's a pepper, we're a pepper. Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? Be a pepper, drink Dr. Pepper. Come on. Be a pepper, drink Dr. Pepper. Right. Be a pepper, drink Dr. Pepper. When you chew it extra, the extra fresh flavor lasts an extra, extra, extra long time. 7 Up. 7 Up. We've seen the light of 7 Up.
Milk will never be the same again.
The cows are up in arms. They've left their fields and barns. They're marching from the farms because kids don't drink enough milk.
Every day, a certain family we know ends up in a rut by drinking the same old juice.
Seal test. Black raspberry royale ice cream.
Good things from the garden. Garden in the valley. Valley of the jolly.
Ho, ho, ho.
Green giant.
G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe, fighting man from head to toe.
And now, back to TV Tracks.
We also had some segments within TV Tracks, and the two big ones that we came up with were ones that identified specific kinds of TV shows. There were 2 varieties of shows that only lasted for 1 season. One was a set of good shows, which we would dub one-season wonders, and these are like, shows that are critically acclaimed, brilliant but canceled, and all that stuff. So whenever we came across a theme song for a one-season wonder, we would play this.
TV Tracks.
One Season Wonder. And then the complete and total opposite, and possibly the seeds of germination for what would eventually become Telehell. Whenever we come across a bad one-season show, we would designate them as
TV Tracks.
TV Turkey. And finally, I kind of feel remiss if I didn't mention that there was a certain sound effect that we used in pretty much all of our imaging, and this, I guess, was sort of a identifier, sort of a signature sound, like how NBC has 3-note chimes. I'm sure CBS has one if they can ever decide on one they could actually use. That's not just a weird 4-note logo kind of thing. Like, a lot of TV networks have these things called signatures. It was the identifying mark that would let people know that they were watching a certain show without, it's a little, it gets a little complicated after that. But the one lasting sound that we actually, technically there's 2 sounds that we have pretty much carried over from TV Tracks to Telehell, and we've been using them for ever and ever and ever, but it was the thing that switched into whatever the next element would be, and that, of course, would be the sound of the TV changing channels, aka the TV Tunes switcher. Listen carefully. And one more time for good measure. So there you go. We've been using that static. Oh, wait, no. That was the switcher. I mean, this is the static. This is what we've been using. Whenever we say after the break, that's when you hear static, a little bit of a hiss in the background, play a bit of a commercial. So, all of that in mind, we hope that you enjoyed this little blast from at least my past. I don't know how many people from around here have actually heard TV Tracks, but I will say that were it not for TV Tracks, there probably would not have been a Telehell even to consider, because Again, I've always been fascinated with radio. I've always been fascinated with television, and being able to do everything on a medium like the internet is just one of those things that I am very fortunate and very glad to have been able to do now for the past 4 years. Maybe 7 years total if you include the TV Tracks years, but this has been a very interesting experience, and hopefully you understand now why Telehell has certain sounds the way that they do. So thank you very much for indulging me. I promise we're going to do something more conventional next time, and until that next time, don't touch that dial.
Okay, one more adjustment there. More aloe-tinged salve for my burn wounds, and okay, gonna hit the button one more time. Crystal clear stereo, no surprises. Come on, give me something I can work with here. And testing 1 2 3. I'm hearing an echo effect, so I think I have my reverb back, and let me just check the spectrometer, and blah 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 blah. Okay, I'm back. You may be good at efficiency in certain areas, but never, ever, ever underestimate the power of radio and good old-fashioned know-how, even if I did have to MacGyver the shit out of this ham radio. That's gonna be it for now, but stay tuned in July because, well, I honestly have no idea what. I'll explain a little more when we feel like it, but thanks for at least indulging me in this one. We'll see you soon.
Telehell was written, produced, edited, and narrated by me, Justin Hart. All clips used in this program are protected under the Fair Use Doctrine of the U.S. Copyright Act of 1976, and all clips used come courtesy of their respective companies and owners. Some of the music used in this program comes courtesy of YouTube and their audio library service. Telehell is a production of Horton Road and is distributed by Libsyn. We have reason to believe that the world may soon become an actual living hell in the next few months, if not few years from now. Fortunately, our social media feeds are as close as we're going to get to having heaven on earth. So please, if you have Facebook, Blue Sky, or, yes, even X, follow us at Telehell Podcast. Feel free to chip in to future episodes by giving us a couple coins at our Patreon, also at Telehell Podcast. Like, comment, rate, subscribe wherever you hear this show, particularly Apple, Pandora, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and even our YouTube page, all of which will be either at Telehell Podcast or at Telehell. One way or another, you'll get there. And of course, if you heard something that you didn't quite agree with us on, you're more than welcome to lay it into us at our complaint line. telehellpodcast@gmail.com.
Another great show from Horton Road.